The college baseball experience picks for May 15th and weekend preview edition on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Edge Boost, the bank account built for bettors. Sign up today at edgeboost.bet, promo code SGPN, and get a $25 deposit bonus. And we're also brought to you by Naira Bets. Claim your $200 deposit bonus today at nairabets.com/SGPN200, promo code SGPN200. What's going on, everybody? My name is Noah Bieniek, and we're back with late nights with Noah, basically, on the college baseball experience. What's going on? The college baseball weekend series begin on Thursday this week with conference tournament week right around the corner. That is when the college baseball experience starts to dominate on the market, whether it be the YouTube platform or the Spotify, Apple Podcasts, whatever podcast platform you use. The college baseball experience will be in there in that inbox regularly from now until the end of the season. If you're new to this place, welcome in. My name is Noah Bieniek, and I am frequently on social media doing college baseball content, whatever it be, regularly college baseball gambling. But this year I've kind of tapped into many other outlets and whatnot. But my friend Johnny Venezia, who has usually co-hosted the show with me for much of this season, he did not show up tonight. I did a show of his on his platform, and he has work in the morning, so he did not want to do the show with me. So I took the extra 2 hours, hit the books harder, grinded a little bit more, got a little bit more of a handicap in because series are beginning a day earlier. And not every team is throwing their ace here on Thursday because, I mean, there is a Friday game in the series, and also there is a conference tournament next weekend where, some teams, definitely the mid-majors, they want to move up their aces. But if you're a high major and you already know that you're kind of locked into an at-large spot in the NCAA tournament, then you're not really going to move your ace. You're going to keep them on Friday. You're going to throw them this weekend Friday. You're going to throw them in the conference tournament on Friday, which it would probably be like a semifinal or maybe a quarterfinal. If the final happens to be on Sunday with some rain or whatnot. And then you would throw them on Friday, opening day in the NCAA tournament, the opening round, I should say. That would be your schedule. But the mid-majors, they'll throw them on Thursday because then they'll get 4 rests and they'll turn around 4 days of rest, and they'll turn around and they'll throw them on day one of the conference tournament on a Tuesday or Wednesday. And then they'll throw them again in the conference tournament championship on like a Saturday or Sunday, depending on weather, of course. So plenty of different ways to attack this weekend for college baseball coaches. And the strategy of it all is what makes it, one, great and separates the best coaches from the great ones, from the good ones to the bad ones, because you don't get into the NCAA tournament without winning your conference tournament. So that's first. But it also separates the good handicappers from the bad handicappers, because you're going to get a lot of TBAs, TBDs, to be announced starting pitchers, and it pays off watching the games throughout the year to then predict and project the correct pitcher and where you would have the line if the lines are out the night before. So again, hopefully lines are out the night before regularly during conference tournament week. In years past, they have. This will be my 4th year doing it. However, this year there's been a lot less overnight lines than there has been in previous seasons. So yeah, I don't mean to do a preamble to today's show, but I'm just laying it all out there, and I'm also throwing my co-host under the bus, as Taliban Man says, was watching the Breaking Bad episode. Exciting for this weekend. Yeah, Johnny still wants to do his personal pod, which is totally fine with me. I have no say in what he can and can't do at all. But I'm still going to do a TCE pod. And it doesn't make sense to me doing the same show twice. And he just dipped out on tonight. So it isn't the same show twice. You're getting me for a full hour or so. There are 17 games where we have 2 pitchers projected for both teams. There are 24 games where there's at least 1 pitcher projected. or it's pretty simple to project the pitchers here that I'm going to at least mention on today's show. So without further ado, I want to jump into it. But before we do that, the DGens line of gear is now live on the merch store at the sportsgamblingpodcast.com website to celebrate that launch of the DGens line and the new gear. We're taking 20% off of everything with the promo code DGens, all caps. You can purchase MLB gambling podcast gear that I'm currently wearing, the college baseball experience podcast gear that I'm currently wearing on this show. And no, I don't highly recommend watching on YouTube for this one. Still dealing with the new stream format, still really funky. And yeah, my layout is not currently structured properly, but we are going to rock like we always do, because I do believe we are the best betting platform for college baseball on the YouTube app and website. And let's jump into it. First game of the day. This thing's at 5:30. I'm not going to have times for every one of the games. I didn't write them down, but they are in chronological order based off WarrenNolan.com. Xavier and Penn State. We don't have betting odds on this one, but this is pivotal for Xavier's at-large hopes. They are currently right on the bubble, probably on the outside looking in, and they travel to Penn State. Xavier's played an extremely tough schedule, but they're only 12-17 on the road. Like I said, I think it's the number one non-conference strength of schedule, which is crazy. Their offense has been a little bit below par, 97 WRC plus with a 5.59 team ERA there. So they have a to be announced. They have not announced their starting pitcher for this game. I don't really feel comfortable projecting who I think they'll throw. For Penn State, it's going to be Ryan DeSanto, who's been their game one guy for all season long. He's been one of my favorite pitchers to back because he's not necessarily fancy. He's not blowing high 90s fastballs by anybody. Actually, he only really touches 88 miles an hour. However, his last three starts, he's really been touched up. I did win one of the bets in those last three starts. I've bet him like 6 times this year, but it's an 8.63 ERA in his last three starts compared to his 4.43 on the season. He is 7-2 in his starts with 66 strikeouts and 65 innings with 25 walks. But overall, I would dodge this one with odds, but that one to begin off the show has major implications on the field of 64. Second game here, we're just going to mention it. Opening line was -115 both ways. Wake Forest and Louisville, both to be announced pitchers here. Don't really feel comfortable projecting either pitcher for what it's worth. Wake Forest 8-10 on the road. Louisville 26-5 at home. Here's the notable stat for you: 0-5 in road series in the ACC. They have won every single home series though. They're 4-0, going for that perfect 5-0 split at home in ACC series this year. And the big calling card for them has been the offense. A 116 WRC plus there. That has been the strength of Louisville the entire year. And their weekend rotation hasn't been able to stay healthy. So it's been the Achilles heel of that team. Another game that's -115 both ways in the ACC is Georgia Tech and Duke. Pitching for the Yellow Jackets in this matchup is Tate McKee, a right-hander who's 6-3 with a 5.25 ERA in 61.2 innings with 65 strikeouts, 27 walks. On the road this season, he's actually been almost a run better at 4.43 road ERA there. And going for Duke, before I even mention who's throwing for Duke, I just wanted to mention this trend. I listen to a lot of podcasts in the college baseball realm. A lot of people do great work with their content. Darren Vaught of ACC Baseball, etc., pulled this stat. Duke from March 30th to now is 17-6. Of their 6 losses, 4 of them are by 1 run. 2 of them are by 2 runs. So me not being super high on the Blue Devil squad this year, I was like, okay, maybe something slipped through the cracks. I'll check out Wheels, which is a great YouTube account that posts a bunch of cut up highlight clips from the game. It's pretty much an entire game, every ball put in play, every strikeout, basically. You don't miss many at bats in his cut ups. And I still don't think Duke really passes the eye test. A lot of the arms that they really turn to for pivotal innings, I would say just kind of lack confidence right now because they've been good in years past. Like I'm talking about arms like Healy and Higgins, but also like a Kyle Johnson just hasn't really panned out either. So Owen Prosch, the guy that they've regularly turned to begin kind of their bullpenning over a weekend series, he's kind of been that guy. He even lost that opening game to Clemson last week in a high scoring affair. So I really don't have faith in a lot of the Duke pitching staff. And Tate McKee's also gotten bombed for Georgia Tech recently, too. So it's not like he's been outstanding. Prosch is noticeably better at home with a 188 home ERA compared to his 417 during the entire season. He's only thrown 45.1 innings this season, so it's kind of a small sample size. But Duke is 28-7 as a team at home. Both offenses pretty similar. AJ Grassi and Jake Hyde have really started to heat up for Duke, and that's kind of been the difference in their recent streak as a team. But Georgia Tech, I really like this offense. Drew Burris, who's probably a top 5 pick in next year's draft, is like 7th in batting average on this team with a 322. So that means there's like 6 others that are even hitting even better than that. And when Georgia Tech dipped as a team with their performance, I really circled the 2 injuries at the top of that performance chart offensively. You look at Kent Schmidt, who's been their best hitter this season. He was hurt for an extended period of time. And Kyle Lodis, their shortstop, also missed a weekend where they lost. So I really like this Georgia Tech team. Plus, they're going to have the Danny Hall story doing his retirement tour. They already retired his number last weekend at Georgia Tech, but also retirement tour in the NCAA tournament, possibly a host with the coach's number on the wall already at the building. Just a dangerous recipe for a team that gets really hot here down the stretch of the season into the NCAA tournament. I like the Yellow Jackets a lot throughout the year. Overall, though, I don't really love the pitching matchup from a standpoint of quality arms in this matchup. Give me the over. I like both offenses' form right now. The over, of course, isn't listed currently, but when it comes out tomorrow, I will probably end up on anything higher than like anything lower than a 13 and a like, or anything higher than like a 13 and a half. I may stay away. But I think 13 to 14 runs are being scored in this weekend. So anything lower than that, I'm probably hitting the over. If that makes sense to anybody, because I am kind of rambling along here. Another ACC matchup at 6 p.m. Eastern. Clemson at Pitt. And Clemson, they've been really scuttling lately. 3 straight series losses for the Tigers. Granted, all of them have been to quality teams. You look at NC State, Florida State, and Duke, they all have a chance to win that regular season championship in the ACC. Clemson kind of have played their way out of that competition here the last 3 weeks. And Aiden Canuck has kind of not been in great form. He is 7-1 on the year with a 4.56 ERA. However, on the road, it's a 7.77 ERA. But yes, 88 strikeouts, 24 walks in 71 innings. That is a really good pitcher. It's just not an ace per se, just on the numbers this year. Second time through in the ACC as a sophomore now. The scouting report's gotten a little bit better against him, and it is displayable in these season stats. Patrick Gardner, a lefty for Pitt, is going for the Panthers in this one. He's got a 7.59 ERA on the year, a 10.58 ERA in his last 3 starts. Honestly, he's not great at missing bats, only 45 strikeouts in 61.2 innings. Pitt 12-7 at home, 101 WRC plus as a team. Staff ERA is 6.36, which is not good. It's 181st in the country. Whereas Clemson 5.16, still not great, but it's 81st. And they do have one of the nation's best closers in Lucas Malstedt there. So, yeah, I like the Tigers to win this game. I don't feel confident about it. And like I said, with Canuck not really pitching his greatest away from Doug Kingsmore this season, and Patrick Gardner with that 10-plus ERA in his last 3 starts, this also seems like a good over to me here. Before we continue on with the rest of today's slate, The college baseball experience is brought to you by Edge Boost, the first ever bank account built for bettors, ensuring all gambling transactions are approved. There are no usage fees and no minimums. You can earn cashback rewards today, and plus you get a 100% approval on all betting deposits. Go over there, sign up today at edgeboost.bet, promo code SGPN, deposit $25, and Edge Boost will match the deposit. That is edgeboost.bet, promo code SGPN. And the Preakness is this weekend, and there's no better time to get on the action than with NYRA Bets. Sign up using the promo code SGPN200 to score a $200 deposit match bonus. And don't wait now, because head over now to nyrabets.com/SGPN200 and claim your $200 deposit match bonus today. That is NYRA Bets, spelled NYRA bets.com/SGPN200. And it's also time for Underdog Fantasy to get over there and play their new game, Ladders. You can win up to 500x your entry on their pick'em platform by watching your favorite players climb the ladder. Sign up today with the promo code TCE SGPN to claim your special pick, plus first-time deposit offer up to $1,000 in bonus credits. UnderdogFantasy.com, promo code TCE SGPN. And we are back here on the College Baseball Experience. Myself, Noah Bieniek, running through the entire betting slate for May 15th of college baseball, and also kind of previewing the weekend, giving you my best look of, possibly the series picture, who I think is going to win the series. And, the final week of the regular season, giving you the lowdown, everything that you need to know. But I left you on a cliffhanger because we're talking about the biggest weekend series of the season in the ACC, the biggest weekend series of the week, in my opinion, North Carolina at Florida State. We're seeing the two best arms in the conference going up against each other. The better pitcher who wins the pitcher's duel might be your ACC pitcher of the year. North Carolina plus 114 here. Florida State minus 145. Jake Knapp is bumping for the Tar Heels. 10-0 with a 2.03 ERA this season in 71 innings with 67 strikeouts, 13 walks. And he does have that 310 Sierra, which means under the hood, if you look around, kind of the contact he's been given up is a little bit harder than what his numbers currently display. He could be due for some regression here in the postseason, which isn't great news for North Carolina's team and fans, but it helps us out when we're handicapping and betting on these games. Jamie Arnold, on the other hand, the southpaw, is 6-1 with a 2.21 ERA in 61 innings with 82 strikeouts, 21 walks. And at home this season, he has been dominant with a sub-1 ERA at 0.85. North Carolina is a solid road team. They're 10-5. That offense has been getting better as the season's gone along. It's really young. I look at Alex Madera. Actually, both shortstops in this matchup have been excellent this season. Alex Madera has really he had a great April, has continued it into March and into May in a way here. And Alex Lodies has been one of the best players in the country, probably one of your favorites right now for the Golden Spikes. Florida State's money at Dick Howser Stadium this year, 23-5 at home with a 122 WRC plus, a 4.47 team ERA, which is 32nd in the country. North Carolina's ERA, though, as a team, 4th in the country with a 3.47. A full run better. I really trust that bullpen too. Florida State's bullpen is a little bit shaky, but the further that Jamie Arnold goes in this game, the more faith I have in the under. So I think under, whenever that comes out and drops in the morning/afternoon, is going to be the play. Honestly, anything under 8.5. I think both of these guys are absolute studs, and there's a way where this thing stays low scoring. So I like the under as my favorite play in the biggest matchup of the day. Texas A&M is at Georgia with their season on the line, and the Aggies are plus 180. The Bulldogs are minus 238 on the opening line. Southpaws are battling in this game. It's Ryan Prager for Texas A&M. He's been their opening day starter this season. He's been their game one starter for the entire year. Honestly, A&M has had no issues with their weekend rotation. It stayed completely intact throughout the entire year. Prager on the year has a 3.82 ERA in 75.1 innings with 66 strikeouts, 19 walks. On the road, though, he has been almost a run worse with a 4.84 road ERA. But Georgia is not trotting out their ace, their game one starter typically for most weekend series. This time around, it's Charlie Goldstein, who has a 6.66 ERA in 24.1 innings this season, 29 strikeouts, 21 walks. And in his last 3 starts, 2 of them being midweek games, too, which is not a great stat and not a great trend. He's got a 6.79 ERA. I am personally looking to fade that. Last year in a similar situation, Florida were their back were up against the ropes, needing a series win to get into the NCAA tournament. Texas A&M kind of finds their way in that same spot. Florida last year, their final weekend series of the year, needed to win 2 games of the 3 at least. They go in the Foley Field in Athens and they win that series against Georgia. I'm not necessarily boldly claiming that Texas A&M is going to do that either, but this starting pitcher matchup and the lack of quality in that Georgia pen for most of the year leads me to believe that A&M has a good chance of winning game one, a better chance than plus 180. So give me that plus 180 on the Aggies as a bet for tomorrow's card. It doesn't matter how good Georgia's been at home this season, 27-3 at home at Foley Field. Last year's the same thing. Crazy home record. Florida comes in with their backs up against the wall, needing to win that series, and they did. A&M has the talent to do it. They just do. And so at plus 180, you have to do it coming off a terrible weekend where they got swept at home by Missouri. They have quality road wins this season. Series win at Tennessee, series win at Arkansas. You have to take the plus 180 with their best pitcher going up against the midweek arm for Georgia this season. Plus 180, Aggies. I'm jumping in on that. Then I take you to a Big Ten matchup that means a lot for both of these teams when it comes to structuring and seeding in the Big Ten standings and possible Big Ten tournament. Both of these teams near that Big Ten tournament bubble. Nebraska at Purdue. The Cornhuskers are plus 100. The Boilermakers are minus 130. I like Nebraska here quite a bit. Tucker Timmerman's on the mound for them, and he missed a lot of time this season. He took a 100-mile-an-hour plus line drive off the face opening weekend and missed basically 3 months. Since then, he started in 4 games. First game, he got his feet wet, bound to, shake off a little bit of rust. His last 3 starts, it is a 0.71 ERA. He's got 23 strikeouts, 8 walks in 25.1 innings this season. And he's going up against Purdue's number 1 arm and Carter Dorn. However, in his last 3 starts, it's an 8.80 ERA. So he's been in really, really rough shape this season. Overall, it's a 5.04 ERA, which isn't stunning, especially in the Big Ten Conference. 48 strikeouts in 60.2 innings, so he's not really missing too many bats either. 30 walks in those 60.2 innings, so almost a walk an inning, which is not great at all. And Nebraska's won 9 road games this year. They're 9-13 on the road. I think they're capable enough. Case Sanderson and that offense is starting to get going. They won that home series against Michigan last weekend that really kind of put them on the right side of the Big Ten tournament bubble right now. And Purdue's not been stellar at home, 13-10 only this season, with a poor team ERA and 110th in the country at 5.53. The pitching depth has been Nebraska's strength this season. So I like the Cornhuskers there as a possible bet in the morning if we can get something maybe a little bit larger than plus 100. But by first pitch, if it's still plus 100, I'm probably going to end up on the Cornhuskers side there. Quickly touching on Indiana at Michigan, huge series here. Michigan on the outside looking in of the NCAA tournament bubble. Indiana a little bit further outside of that tournament bubble, but a weekend series win in Ann Arbor would surely help their case of getting onto the bubble, where they also have an representation on the NCAA selection committee. Their athletic director is one of the people on the committee. And how we saw it last year, everybody that was on the bubble that had a representation got in. So Indiana currently like mid 60s RPI, get into the mid 40s, and you, my friends, are playing postseason baseball with a top 10 draft pick in Devin Taylor. That is definitely going to be a selling point. But Michigan has been great at home this year, 14-8 at home with a 107 WRC plus and a good team ERA at 487, which is 58th in the country. Indiana can't match that. There's really only one arm that scares me. Since I'm a Michigan fan, both teams have TBAs as their starting pitcher. Michigan's done this the entire season. It's just kind of gamesmanship from Tracy Smith, the head coach, not really tipping his hand at where he's going to go with his weekend rotation. Cole Gillies, the name to know for Indiana when he's on the bump. I really wouldn't get in front of that train, but other than that, Michigan, if they're this price for the rest of the weekend, I would be firing on Michigan because it's minus 115 both ways there. Rutgers is at Maryland this weekend, another kind of fringy Big Ten tournament bubbly series. The Scarlet Knights are plus 100. The Terps are minus 130. Landon Mack, a freshman, is the game one starter for Rutgers, and he's been pretty good this year. 4-5 with a 4.30 ERA in 69 innings with 61 strikeouts, 16 walks. In his last 3 starts, though, he's kind of leaking oil with a 6.92 ERA, and he's going up against Braden Ryan. He's been pretty good for the Terps, but not great. 6.94 ERA on the year, 35 innings pitched, 27 strikeouts, 16 walks with a 4.63 SIERA. He could be better. And Maryland could be better as a team. They've been much better in years past. Ever since kind of Rob Vaughn took that job at Alabama, this has been like a round 500 team. That's once again kind of what they're fighting to be this season. Rutgers, though, on the road, not very threatening. 10-17 record on the road, 91 WRC plus as a team, which means they're 9% below performance average level across D1. And as a team, they have a 5.73 ERA, which is 123rd. That's the weakness of this Maryland team. 6.68 team ERA, which is 204th in the country. But the offense is really good. It's a 116 WRC plus, which means they're 16% better than the average team in D1. And up against the Rutgers pitching staff that's kind of been puzzle pieces together, I wouldn't mind the Terps here in a weekend series win. If you like some of the handicap there on Maryland, it's not a bad look. You could definitely find better. Georgia Southern and Marshall do battle this weekend. Georgia Southern plus 105, Marshall minus 135. No pitcher projected for either one in this matchup, but Marshall's been really good in Huntington this season, 20-11 at home. Georgia Southern just 7-14 on the road. If we get pitchers announced prior to this game, and Marshall has an advantage in that department, I wouldn't mind firing on the Thundering Herd. Kansas State plays at Cincinnati, and we got the same thing. K-State on the road, 6-16. Cincinnati at home, 16-5. The Bearcats are only minus 125. K-State minus 105. We are waiting for that Nathan Taylor pitching announcement on Cincinnati. I have no idea what's going to happen with Jordan Bischel and his weekend rotation this weekend. Same with K-State. Both of them are TBA. But if we get that Nathan Taylor announcement, he's one of the top 3 pitchers in the Big 12. We are going to jump in on the minus 125 against a poor road team in Kansas State. Same kind of thing where we have a TBA on Virginia Tech, but it's a minus 115 both ways matchup between Virginia at Virginia Tech, and the Hoos are going to throw their right-handed arm Jay Woolfolk, who started most game ones for them this season with a 4.55 ERA and 55.1 innings, 67 strikeouts, 22 walks. In the ACC, though, this year, it's been almost a run worse, over a run worse, I should say. It's a 5.66 ERA in conference compared to a 4.55 ERA outside of it. So not the greatest trend against good competition from Mr. J, the former quarterback of the Cavaliers. Virginia Tech, of course, like I mentioned, that TBA. I would assume it's Brett Renfro, but I'm not comfortable enough to really fire on a minus 115 line. I like Virginia a lot more than Virginia Tech in this matchup. Virginia Tech's really kind of been falling apart lately. That offense hasn't been nearly as good as it's been in weekends past, and the rotation has a couple of injuries, I do believe. They are just 16-12 at home, which is not tremendously great. Usually the high power teams in power conferences, have a much better home record than that, and that's kind of below average in my opinion. Virginia 6-5 on the road this season. Hasn't really been tested greatly, but they are kind of righting the ship. The offense is hitting a lot better recently. Brian O'Connor was quoted in a story saying, "It's hitting weather. The weather is warmer now than it was previously early on in the season when they were struggling." He definitely has a point there. I know I was a warm weather hitter as well. So it's good to see that the strength of this Virginia team is actually starting to act like it is the strength of the team. It's a 114 WRC plus on the season. And like I said, they've been rolling. Harrison Didewick's been an X factor. Last year, he broke the team record in a season for home runs. He hasn't been nearly close to that this year, but he has kind of been heating up lately. And the bullpen's been the main question mark, but overall, it's a 4.75 team ERA, which is 52nd in the country. It's not terrible. It's better than a 5.20 for Virginia Tech at 88. Like I said, waiting on that Virginia Tech pitcher. If it's Brett Renfro, he's been their number one guy the entire year. I'd probably hold off today, look at Virginia, in games 2 and 3 on the money line there. SGPN is partnered up with Rhythm, your home for AI-backed picks and props. Dominate the NBA playoffs and MLB prop market today with Rhythm. Building your own model is simple and easy. Rhythm knows that you'll love it, so that's why they're providing you with a 7-day free trial. Go over there to Rhythm, rhythm.com or sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm to get that 7-day free trial. Rhythm has some amazing deals going on right now. 25% off a monthly subscription with promo code SGPN25. And you can also get 50% off an annual subscription with promo code SGPN50. That is Rhythm, spelled RITHMM, promo code SGPN25 or SGPN50, whatever floats your boat. And the college baseball experience is also brought to you by mybookie.ag. MyBookie is your place to bet on every sport, including the NBA playoffs. Plus, there's props on every game. And for the true degens, the MyBookie money bag is available for you. It's basically like a slot machine. It gives you the number of what your ticket would be, and you're going to get a random name. You could get one of the best names in the field, one of the best teams in the sport that you're possibly betting, or something a little bit worse. It's all kind of random. If that's more of your speed, you can try it out and see if you luck out with a good value future there. MyBookie also accepts customers from a ton of locations. It's easy to deposit, and you get lightning fast payouts using crypto. Head over to mybookie.ag, promo code TCE SGPN to get a 100% deposit match up to $1,000. Terms and conditions apply. That is mybookie.ag, promo code TCE SGPN. And SGPN is brought to you by Circa Resort and Casino in Las Vegas, because they are giving away the ultimate fantasy football experience for a 12-person league to draft in Vegas and be treated like VIPs for their stay. The winner will receive a 2-night stay at Circa Resort and Casino for their entire 12-person league. That is 6 double king rooms. You hold your draft at a cabana at Stadium Swim with a $5,000 food and beverage credit. You can get limo transportation to and from the airport, a welcome party at the Legacy Club for the league when you arrive, a reservation at the world's largest sportsbook with a $500 beverage credit for the league, a 2-hour open bar package for the league at Overhang Bar. The contest runs from May 5th to June 30th. Go over to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/circa to enter today. That is sportsgamblingpodcast.com/CIRCA. And we are back here on the college baseball experience. Myself, Noah Bieniek, running through the entire slate today of college baseball games for May 15th. It is 3:20 a.m. We do have 13 sickos watching along live with me. The chat is actually rolling, and I apologize for not paying attention closer to it. Arctic Vibe 15 says 11.7. Fam, what up? How's it going, my friend? Yeah, I apologize for not paying attention to this. Austin Libro saying, how about Point Park? That is the school that I went to for 3 years. The new manager of the Pittsburgh Pirates, they fired Derek Shelton. The new manager is Don Kelly. He's their interim. He's actually like the most notable alumni from my school, which isn't saying much. It's more of like a dance theater school. But we're a baseball power. Used to be in the NAIA. This was our first year in Division II, and we won the conference tournament and regular season titles. But we are on probation because it's the transition period in the NCAA, so we can't compete in the D2 tournament to possibly win a World Series title, which sucks. But yeah, shout out to my guys over there at Point Park. They had an insane year, conference player of the year, conference coach of the year, all that gnarly biz. So awesome stuff over there in Pittsburgh. And awesome stuff to see that we've got the D-Gens rolling along at 3:20 a.m. Eastern. Like I said, I apologize for not paying attention to this closer because we are rolling, and we are going to talk about that Oregon-Iowa matchup in a little bit, Mr. Nathan Cerna. I want to take you in chronological order, though, because Kansas and West Virginia are doing battle possibly for a Big 12 regular season title. Dom Vagley, last year's freshman of the year in the Big 12, is on the mound for the Jayhawks, while the left-handed pitcher Griffin Kern will go for the Mountaineers here. Kansas on the road is plus 120. They're 17-7 away from home this season, which is a really good record. However, the Mountaineers are minus 154, and at home in Morgantown, they are 17-4. This is going to be a really quality matchup the entire weekend. Dom Vagley on the year has a 5.40 ERA and 80 innings with 74 strikeouts, 28 walks. Griffin Kern, 3.49 ERA, 69.2 innings pitched, 73 strikeouts, 23 walks. And he's been much better at home there. I wrote down his road ERA, which is 7.42 compared to his season-long 3.49. So even though I don't have the home ERA written down, it is much better in Morgantown. Kansas has probably been the best offensive lineup West Virginia is going to see this weekend. They have Brady Bollinger, who's probably a top 2 guy for conference player of the year this season in the Big 12. That's a 119 offensive WRC plus there. But West Virginia, it's kind of a matchup of styles as they have a 4.13 team ERA. It's 19th in the country. It's been one of the better pitching staffs this season. They've scuffled in their 2 biggest series of the year, a series loss to Arizona, and then they just hit the road and lost a series at Kansas State this weekend where their bullpen blew 2 big leads in this. I wouldn't call the second one a big lead. They blew an 8-7 8th inning lead in game 3. They blew out Kansas State in game 2. They honestly dictated it in Manhattan against a good team at home. K-State's been unbelievable at home this season. But you know what this Kansas team did to that K-State team? They swept them. So Kansas is going to be a viable opponent for West Virginia. And Kyle West there in this offense that has been really good this season, but definitely kind of a step up in competition for West Virginia. I like him to win the game, win the series, but I'm not going to jump in on that minus 154 price and bet it. That's a given, maybe it wasn't, but I'm not going to pull the trigger there. East Carolina and South Florida do battle tomorrow in a game that we don't currently have betting odds on, but Ethan Norby and Corey Braun, if they go, that would be a circle at appointment television mid-major pitching matchup for sure. 2 of the better arms this season. We currently don't have pitchers projected for Kentucky and Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt minus 200, Kentucky plus 154. Vandy announced on Twitter that they are throwing, I think it was a midweek guy or a reliever called with the last name of Nay, if I remember correctly, but I didn't write down stats and whatnot for him. But But Vanderbilt's been really good at home, 25-5 at home. Kentucky just 10-10 on the road there. I kind of like Vanderbilt to win the series. Kentucky coming off a big weekend sweep of Oklahoma last weekend. So I think just based off of the momentum that has been the Kentucky train, positive weekend, negative weekend, positive weekend, negative weekend. I think they lose this series on the road in Nashville. Let's talk about the biggest mid-major series of the weekend. Southern Miss is minus 145 in game one against Troy, plus 114. JB Middleton is on the bump for Southern Miss. He's been the guy. Us at 11.7 are talking about mid-major pitcher of the year awards, and JB Middleton is in the conversation. He's 9-1 with a 2 flat ERA, 85.1 innings, 98 strikeouts, 22 walks. We were talking about Troy and their injuries in that weekend rotation and how they've really kind of struggled to sweep series, especially in game threes. They've lost a lot of game threes this season. So if they were to throw their number one and number two in Gaines and whoever would be healthy this weekend, because they've kind of juggled in starting pitchers left and right. And Gaines has, been in and out with injury as well. It's a tough projection outside of game one where they're throwing Noah Thigpen, who's been a midweek arm for them for most of the season. So they're kind of throwing off against JB Middleton, hoping to then win game 2 and 3, or, possibly steal game 1 if they're still within it. They would probably throw one of their better bullpen arms to try to lock it up. But I don't really expect them to really dictate the way that this game script goes. Noah Thigpen on the year has a 4.46 ERA, 38.1 innings, 32 strikeouts, 7 walks. And up against JB Middleton, I just don't know if he's got enough firepower there to keep the Southern Miss offense down, which is much better than in years past Golden Eagles teams. It's a 114 WRC plus for Southern Miss, and they still got a top 20 pitching staff with a 4.12 ERA, and they're 12-7 on the road, which is quality. Troy's environment is going to be pretty fun. They're 20-6 at home this year. It's their biggest home series of the second half of the season outside of the Coastal Carolina series. So 109 WRC plus, 5.12 ERA on the team or on the season here. Blake Cavill's really kind of led that offense with a 341 batting average, 1143 OPS. But I kind of like Southern Miss here with JB Middleton on the mound. Nick Monasterio kind of just keeps hitting home runs. He's got 17 on the year. Give me the Golden Eagles in that game. That one's probably a bet. I haven't placed it full transparency yet, but I'm probably going to end up on the minus 145 on Southern Miss there tomorrow. Voice, for whatever reason, is trying to escape me. So I'm trying to end this podcast pretty quickly, but we still got half the slate to go. I'm not jumping out of here too quickly on you guys yet. We're going to get to the big one. Oregon at Iowa. This game is on FS1, college baseball on FS1. A great sight to see. Minus 115 both ways, as we're going to see Grayson Grinzel, the left-hander for Oregon, go up against Cade Obermueller, the left-hander for Iowa. Two of the best pitchers in the Big Ten this season, easily top 5. Grayson Grinzel's been excellent in his last 4 starts. He's got 2 complete games, 2 really good starts. He's 8-2 on the season, 2.53 ERA, 81.2 innings, 85 strikeouts, 25 walks. On the road this season, he's actually been almost a run better. He's an absolute dog. It's a 1.75 road ERA, and he's going up against Cade Obermueller, who on the season is 4-2 with a 2.52 ERA and 71.1 innings, 99 strikeouts, 28 walks. In his last 3 starts, his last start against Oregon State wasn't great, so that is notable, but it's still included in this trend. It's a 2.65 ERA in his last 3 starts, which is really, really good. And the thing about him is he is a southpaw. In Oregon this season against left-handed pitching has a 759 OPS, 238 batting average, compared to against right-handed pitching, 998 OPS, 311 batting average. So I think if Iowa needs to if they want to get a game, which they need to get a game, they have to get a game with their ace, a left-handed pitcher, going up against an Oregon lineup that, 2 of their top 3 hitters are left-handed hitters, 3 of their top 4 hitters are left-handed hitters. Two of their switch hitters are much, much better from the left side. So going lefty on lefty there, or making them flip around to bat right-handed is definitely a strength that Iowa, and a matchup advantage that Iowa is going to have in game one and throughout the series. So Iowa needs to win that game. I don't think they're the better team here, but minus 115 both ways is probably not bettable on the Hawkeyes. I like the under. I think Grinzel is an absolute terror right now. Like I said, the last 4 starts have been excellent for him. Obermuller's been really sharp lately too. I like the under wherever this thing comes out. Probably anything above 10, above 9.5. I would take the under on that line here. In the Sun Belt, we surprisingly have series or betting odds on game one in this series of Arkansas State and Louisiana. The Raging Cajuns are minus 135. The Red Wolves are plus 105. And I'm going to bet the Raging Cajuns here. Gavin Galley, who is a Nichols transfer to Arkansas State, so he's actually from the boot. He has a 2.84 ERA in the season, which is great. But his last 5 starts, 3.13 ERA. If you look under the hood, it's a 4.29 SIERA, which basically accounts for the quality contact against a pitcher in college baseball. And a 4.29 ERA, or 4.29 SIERA, basically the way that SIERA and ERA can translate is basically add a 1.5 to the SIERA, and that equals the ERA. So we're looking at maybe like a high 5s ERA on Galley under the hood, and that helps us a lot when we're trying to prognosticate and predict what's going to happen in future games. Whereas Chase Morgan at the tee has been electric this season. Just a 1.24 home ERA compared to a 3.96 ERA on the season. 52.1 innings pitched for the lefty, 59 strikeouts, 22 walks. Louisiana has been better at home this season. Arkansas State just 6-15 on the road. Both offenses are really poor, so this could be an underlook as well. But I like Louisiana in game one with Chase Morgan on the bump. Minus 135, I would say that is a bet. Arizona State hits the road to Stillwater, where the Sun Devils still have a chance to win the Big 12 regular season title. They would need to pull off a sweep, and West Virginia lose 2 of 3 to be co-champs in the Big 12 here. That's their situation to win. To win outright, they would need to sweep, and West Virginia needs to get swept. It's far-fetched, but Arizona State needs to take care of business. They are minus 140 in this matchup against Oklahoma State, who's plus 110. And Arizona State has not announced their pitcher in this matchup. A lot of people, including myself, presume that it's going to be Ben Jacobs, their star left-hander, who had a really good freshman year. Like I mentioned, the scouting report gets a little bit better against him, going his second time through his career, through a season. Scouting report a little bit more enhancive there. Yeah, so like I said, 4.67 ERA and 69.1 innings. It's 100 strikeouts, 36 walks with a 2.69 SIERA. He could possibly see some good regression coming his way, but he's going up against possibly the number 1 pitcher in the Big 12 in Harrison Bodendorf. He's a left-handed pitcher who's 9-1 in the year, 2.54 ERA and 74.1 innings and 88 strikeouts, 24 walks with a 0.50 ERA in his last 4 appearances. Oklahoma State's 15-6 in the launch pad. That is Stillwater O'Brate Stadium, 15-6 at home. Even though their offense is 6% worse than the D1 average. But the pitching staff has been really good this year. Top 35 in ERA with a 4.47. Arizona State's weakness this season has kind of been that bullpen. They blew a Ben Jacobs start last weekend against Houston. Plus money on Oklahoma State at home is definitely viable. I don't know if I'm going to pull the trigger on it because Arizona State's offense could definitely put up some runs in this spot. But at plus 110, if you want to jump on the plus money with the pokes, I wouldn't blame you. But I respect Arizona State's offense. I wouldn't be surprised if they knocked around Bodendorf a little bit, even though he's rarely been touched this season. In a matchup where we have TBA pitchers, Notre Dame and Miami do battle in Coral Gables. The Fighting Irish are plus 130. Miami, the Hurricanes are minus 166 here. I think it's going to be Jack Radel and Griffin Hughes. But again, Radel and Hughes, I mean, why am I saying I screwed up both of these guys' last names in the last 20 seconds here. Jack Radel of Notre Dame, Griffin Hughes of Miami. I think those two would probably be your pitchers here. But again, these guys are probably teams that need the conference tournament more than they need this weekend series. So it's kind of tough to balance out and predict what they would do, whether they keep their guys on their standard weekend rotation rest on Fridays, or if they're going to move them up on Thursday, hope to throw them in game one of the ACC tournament and possibly bring them back for an ACC tournament title. Notre Dame definitely qualifies that more than Miami, but I would even throw the Hurricanes in that because if they're trying to host, they would qualify for that too. Notre Dame 14-9 on the road, which is definitely quality. Miami, though, at home at Marklight Field, where some magic can happen late at night. They are 21-7. The offense is kind of getting better. It's a 94 WRC plus compared to Notre Dame's 102. And Daniel Cavey's been the catalyst of that offense kind of getting better. So that is definitely something to note there. But personally, I'm not pulling the trigger or even kind of really giving out a pick until I know pitchers there. I would be leaning. I would pick Miami today, but honestly, that Notre Dame weekend rotation's rolling. Carson Tinney's been hitting really well lately. So yeah. One of the better mid-major pitching matchups tomorrow is going to be Blake Gillespie of Charlotte up against Tulane's Luke Flata. Flata's been a guy that I've liked previously in his career. This year has not been his year. It's a 7.57 ERA. And he's really struggled at home with a 9.39 homing ERA, but he's a big game pitcher. He gets up for like a pitcher's duel like you would see with Blake Gillespie here. Gillespie has a no-hitter to his name this season. 2.65 ERA, 112 strikeouts in 88.1 innings, 17 walks, but he has struggled on the road with a 4.40 road ERA. We don't have betting odds here, but I would be looking at a little bit of an over with two bigger names going up against each other there. I'll take a quick drink. Auburn is in Oxford for a pivotal series for both teams. Auburn is trying to be a national host, top 8 seed. Meanwhile, Ole Miss is trying to be a top 16 seed regional host. Auburn is not throwing Samuel Dutton, their ace this season. They're actually throwing Cam Tilley. He's a left-handed pitcher who's kind of been bouncing around from midweek starter to reliever to weekend starter in this Auburn pitching staff. On the season, it's a 4.38 ERA in 37 innings with 47 strikeouts, 24 walks. This will be his 4th straight start in the SEC. His last 3 starts have been to a tune of a 4.65 ERA, so kind of around that same kind of season line here. Hunter Elliott's been really good at home, though. He has a 2.60 ERA in his last 3 starts, just above a 3 ERA at Swayze Field this season. He's 7-3 with a 3.66 ERA on the year, 78 strikeouts and 66.1 innings with 34 walks. Ole Miss is 23-7 at home this season, whereas Auburn is 6-9 on the road. I like Ole Miss and Luke Hill in that offense. I'm actually kind of impressed and keeping my eye on Ole Miss. If they're a 2 seed, I think they could be a frisky SEC 2 seed, one of my favorite in that category out of the Southeastern Conference for this season that could possibly do some work in the postseason. But if they get like one of those final host bids, they'll probably get a tough regional where they most likely wouldn't advance. It's kind of, that give or take, whether you would want to play home postseason games against tougher teams or be a strong 2 in a weak regional there. So Ole Miss is a team that I have my eye on. Auburn throwing off in game 1 against A really solid senior in Hunter Elliott. I'll take Ole Miss at minus 115 there as a bet. Texas, Oklahoma. We've got the Red River shootout here. Texas is going with a TBA. Ruger Riojas the last 2 weeks has kind of gotten lit up. He's not been successful in that Friday night starter role since they moved him from game 3 starter to game 1 starter outside of that Texas A&M start. It just hasn't really clicked. I would keep an eye on maybe Cade Bing being the starter for this game for the Longhorns. But going up against Oklahoma's Kyson Witherspoon has been one of the best pitchers in the country this year. I don't know if minus 154 is low enough. I think this is great value on a guy who's 9-3 on the year with a 2.45 ERA, 104 strikeouts, only 19 walks in 77 innings. At home this season, he has a 1.05 ERA against poor, talented teams where you'd kind of be like, oh, man, I can't believe I have to pitch against these guys today. It's a 5.50 ERA against teams that, in the SEC every single season or every single weekend, they're quality team after quality team with loaded talent. It is a 1.49 ERA. He's a big game pitcher. He doesn't like pitching in against the Kentuckys, the Missouris, the South Carolinas, the Lehighs. Those were 4 of the 5 teams that he's kind of struggled against this year. Throw those guys out. When he's throwing against the top 10 teams in the country, Kyson Witherspoon is on point. He's legit. He's coming off a rough start, looking for a bounce back against his program's number 1 rival. Give me Oklahoma, Kyson Witherspoon, where they're 19-8 at home in Norman with a 107 WRC plus, and the bullpen in game 1 should be fresh. I like the Sooners to go out there and get a low-scoring game 1 W behind Easton Carmichael and the bunch in that offense. We move to Fayetteville, where Tennessee is plus 124 and Arkansas is minus 160. Tennessee is not throwing Liam Doyle in game 1. They are throwing Marcus Phillips. So interesting. They are keeping Doyle Friday to Friday, but Phillips is jumping from Saturday to Thursday. Interesting. Phillips, 3.41 ERA on the year compared to his road ERA of 5.03. He's got 77 strikeouts, 63.1 innings with 23 walks. Zach Root will throw for Arkansas, and he's been excellent at home with a 3.12 ERA compared to a 3.88 throughout the entire season. 72 innings pitched, 98 strikeouts, 24 walks for the Hogs' number 1 arm, and they are 30-3 at home compared to Tennessee, 8-4 on the road. Both offenses are really good. However, on paper, Tennessee's is really good. In the conference, if you take a look under the hood, they've only got 3 starters in that lineup batting over 300 in the SEC play. They've only got 1 hitting over 1,000 OPS in SEC play. Andrew Fisher's doing both. So I believe he had a 312 batting average, 1,100 OPS. He's been a stud this season. But, the Aloy brothers, Charles Davalon and company over there at Arkansas, they are raking this season. They're even better against left-handed pitching than they are against righties. So I think they could be able to fare well against Liam Doyle too. I like Arkansas to win the series. I like them to win game 1. Am I wanting to pay minus 160 against Tennessee? No, not really. I think getting away from Knoxville might not be bad for Tennessee. They've lost 4 straight home series, which is kind of hard to fathom. And like I said, they are 8-4 on the road. They've won some quality road series this season. So, yeah, it's tough. I don't know if Arkansas is necessarily a team that's going to steal a ton of bags, but Phillips has given up 10-plus stolen bases in the last 2 starts, which is also hard to fathom. And like I said, 5.03 road ERA for Phillips. Nothing that I want to get behind there. And like I said, minus 160 seems a little too rich against Tennessee for my blood. The next game is Arizona at Houston. Owen Kramkowski, a right-handed pitcher, is minus 140 up against Houston with Chris Cinta going, who's plus 110. Let's see here. Kramkowski's 7-4 on the year with a 5.08 ERA. Not excellent, not bad. 67.1 innings thrown, 63 strikeouts, 11 walks. He's going to throw strikes. That's what he does. He'll get hit around by good offenses, but against offenses that kind of lack power, he doesn't. It's a 330 Sierra, so he could see some positive regression lately, maybe possibly going into the postseason. Chris Cinta on the season only got 31 innings pitched, a 4.35 ERA, 21 strikeouts, 10 walks, 4.46 Sierra. So he's good. He's due for negative regression here. And we've kind of seen that lately. In his last 3 starts, it's a 6.50 ERA. However, he's a left-handed pitcher. Arizona, if they were to have poor splits against some handed pitching, it would be left-handed pitching where they're slightly worse. You got power lefties and Mason White and Brendan Summerhill at the top of that lineup. Aaron Walton is the really important right-handed swinger for the Wildcats this season. That offense is really kind of league average or country average at a 101 WRC plus this season. But they need a bounce-back weekend after losing 2 of 3 at home to Utah, flirting with a series sweep. Like I said, they struggle against left-handed pitching. The real joker that Houston has in that pitching staff is Antoine Jean. He's a left-handed pitcher with a wicked arm angle coming from, I believe, like a mid 6 foot frame. He's a giant on the mound. Last weekend against Arizona State, he threw 4 innings in relief, only 1 hit, 1 earned run. Keep an eye on when he throws in this series for Houston against Arizona, because once they use him and deploy him and they use him for 3+ innings, he won't come back later on in the weekend series, and that's when it would be okay to bet Arizona. But as long as they have that joker in their hand, I would probably stay away from Arizona this weekend. Fresno State and New Mexico do battle in a quality Mountain West series. Don't know pitchers for that, but Fresno State's minus 135, the Lobos plus 105. But we move on to Texas Tech, where they also have a TBA. They are plus 100. But like I said, no pitcher announced for them. BYU is going to throw Justice Reiser, who, we're still missing Peyton Gubler, who had been scuffling lately. I don't know if that's by injury or just poor performance. They moved him out of the game 1 role. Reiser at home, actually due to elevation, so it's not too bad, but it's a 6.75 home ERA compared to a 5.33 on the season. Texas Tech not good away from home, 6-14. Both pitching staffs bad. We could see quite a few runs in that weekend series. We've got 3 series left to talk about here. This one is kind of the price is inflated on the opening line. Fullerton's plus 220. UC Irvine is minus 280. But I do think it's a quality series. Fullerton needs, I think, a win to stay in that top 5 of the Big West to make the inaugural Big West Conference tournament. I'm pulling that off the top of my head, but I think I'm right. They're throwing Kai Negrete, who's been their best pitcher this season. He's got a 5.02 ERA, 71 strikeouts, and 71.2 innings with 29 walks. Irvine's going to trot out Riley Kelly, 371 ERA and 53.1 innings, 56 strikeouts, 26 walks with a 389 Sierra. So he could be due for some regression. The home ERA is worse than it is on the road with a 4.82 home ERA compared to that 3.71 on the season. Ricky Ojeda usually piggybacks Riley Kelly after like 1 or 2 times through the lineup for him. Fullerton's been a quality team this year. They're 14-8 on the road, 104 WRC plus, and a 5.25 team ERA, which is 92nd in the country, which is honestly better than it's been in years past for the Titans. UC Irvine's 15-5 at home with a 117 WRC plus, but that offense has kind of taken a step back in the last 7 games without Chase Call, who's been one of their better hitters this season and outfielder for them. He got hurt in the first game of that UC San Diego series where they lost 2 of 3 and they didn't really look good. They're only averaging 6.7 runs per game in those 7 games without Chase Call. So that is interesting to note. Most good teams, top 50 teams, are putting up 8.5 runs per game plus. So, yeah, they've taken a little bit of a step back. Just wanted to note that Fullerton at plus 220 with their ace on the mound might not be the worst look in the world. Boston College is at Cal this weekend. No pitchers announced for this series. Cal, not great at home, 10-17, but Boston College, not tremendous away from home either, 12-14. BC is plus 110, Cal minus 140. We move. I don't have too much on that series. USC is minus 130 against Washington, who's plus 100. This is the last big series on today's slate here. USC is minus 130 with Andrew Johnson, the freshman, on the bump. He's thrown 58.1 innings, really effective this season for the Trojans. He's 4.47 ERA with 48 strikeouts, 11 walks. And on the road, it's almost 2 runs better than at home with a 2.77 ERA on the road compared to that 4.47 ERA on the season. And Max Banks continues to throw well for Washington. They got the loss against Oregon. I wouldn't say it's his fault. He gave up, I think it was 4 runs to the Ducks, which isn't great, but definitely not bad. He's got a 3.73 ERA on the year. They are 8-1 in Big Ten game ones this season. So Washington at plus 100. Definitely a viable play because of Banks. He's got 55 strikeouts and 62.2 innings, 25 walks. And at home, he's got a 2.95 ERA, almost a full run better. Washington's 12-6 at home, although 2 of their losses, actually 1.5 of their losses have come to an NAIA and a D3 team, which is actually hilarious. But yeah, I mean, Southern Cal, they haven't played a single game on campus this season. Quite impressive that they are on the right side of the bubble currently in the NCAA tournament. I don't think playing on the road affects them at all. Playing on another team's campus, they are 16-7 in true road games this season. So should be a great battle. I don't have a pick in this one. I would go with Washington at plus money and an under in this. But like I said, I don't have a ton of conviction one way or another. Last series that I'm going to mention is UC San Diego at Hawaii. Both of these teams also fighting for Big Ten or the Big West tournament implications. Both of them trying to get into that top 5 for that inaugural first ever Big West Conference tournament. Hawaii has not announced their starting pitcher for this game. UC San Diego is going to go with Matthew Dahlquist, who is 7-4 on the year with a 4.32 ERA and 81.1 innings, 68 strikeouts, 13 walks. On the road, though, it's a 5.53 ERA, a full run worse. Hawaii's got really good options in that weekend rotation. They've kind of been skidding lately, especially in the pitching department, and the offense isn't great with a 93 WRC plus, but on the island, they are 19-9. UC San Diego away from home is only 10-14. I would be looking towards Hawaii in this series with that 4.08 team ERA. It's top 20 in the country. Rainbow Warriors. Let's go Bows. Lock up a spot in that Big West tournament. They still got an outside shot at possibly being an NCAA tournament team. That'll wrap up today's show. My best bets, my bets for the May 15th slate here, and just the looks, because we got a couple of totals that haven't come out yet. I like the over in Georgia Tech Duke as a look. Tate McKee's not been great on the lately for the Yellow Jackets. Duke's lineup's been hitting really well. Georgia Tech's lineup is really good. I like that a lot. So give me an over in that one. I like an over in Clemson Pitt. Aiden Canuck, who's been Clemson's best pitcher the last 2 seasons, hasn't really pitched great away from home in both of those years. It's a 7.77 road ERA this year. Pitt's not great, but I think they could put up some runs. This is not one of my favorite plays tomorrow, but the over will be worth a look as Clemson tries to bounce back, get off a 3-series straight losing streak here. Patrick Gardner's pitching for Pitt. He's got a 7.59 ERA, a 10.58 ERA in his last 3 starts. That is not great, my friends. So look for the over there. I like the under and Jamie Arnold, the two best pitchers in the ACC by far. The winner of this pitcher's duel is probably going to get ACC Pitcher of the Year. Jamie Arnold at home this season, 0.85 home ERA. But can we trust that bullpen? The deeper he goes, the better we feel about the under. The less he goes, the more the bullpen throws, the more chance of them losing the game. But we still could stay under. I like the under more than Florida State's money line in that one. Florida State is 23-5 at home. So if you like the Seminoles, I would probably take it anywhere under -160, and I don't think it's a bad bet. I like Texas A&M plus 180 at Georgia. They desperately need this series coming off a series weekend swept at home by Missouri, who was previously winless in the SEC. I buried Texas A&M. I really don't think they'll probably get in the NCAA tournament. But Ryan Prager's on the bump, who's been their ace the last two seasons, going up against a midweek pitcher for Georgia and Charlie Goldstein. He really hasn't had the greatest season. He started the year as an opener in the regular season, did not go well. Then he moved to the midweek. His last three starts, it's a 6.79 ERA. Two of those are midweek starts. That's not good, my friends. So let's fade it. Plus 180 and Texas A&M with their backs up against the wall. We saw Georgia, they're 27-3 at home this season at Foley Field, but last year we saw them be really good at home and also lose a weekend series to a red-hot Florida team that desperately needed it to get in the NCAA tournament. Texas A&M's kind of in that same spot. The Aggies could definitely go into Foley Field and win a game or two. Let's bet on them in this game when we know they have the pitching advantage. I like Nebraska at plus 100. I don't think it's a bad look at all. Tucker Timmerman, who's a great story. He's got a 0.71 ERA in his last three starts compared to Carter Dorn of Purdue, has an 8.80 ERA in his last three starts. I think that's a great look. I like Southern Miss, -145 with J.B. Middleton on the mound. Troy throwing off. That's pretty self-explainable. Under in the FS1 college baseball game. Oh, I can't wait to watch this thing. This will be on the main screen. Grayson Grinzel up against Cade Obermuller. Say less. Grinzel's been excellent in his last four starts, two complete games, two better than quality starts on the road this season. He's a full run better, 175 road ERA. Cade Obermuller in his last three starts at the 265 ERA. Oregon's been much worse against left-handed pitching this season than against right. So Cade, being the southpaw, should have his way against this Oregon lineup, and we should stay under 10 runs in this matchup on, I don't know if it's national television, if it's Fox Sports 1, but there's going to be a lot of people watching that game, and I can't wait for those eyeballs. I like Louisiana -135. Chase Morgan has been great at the Teague this season, a 124 home ERA. And Gavin Galley has that 429 Sierra compared to the 284 ERA. So if you translate Sierra to ERA, it's a mid-fives ERA, which is not great. He's heading back to the boot where he previously pitched for Nichols. Louisiana's seen him before, I would like to bet. So give me Louisiana at home. They're 17-13 this year. Arkansas State on the road is 6-15. And Connor Higgs in that lineup. I like them at home. Higgs this season, 345 average, 1161 OPS for the Ragin' Cajuns there. We finish the best bets, best looks portion of the show with Ole Miss with a starting pitcher advantage against Auburn big time here with Hunter Elliott going. He's got a 2.60 ERA in his last three starts compared to Cam Tilley, who's kind of bounced all around. He's going to make his fourth straight SEC start here. He's got a 4.65 in those three SEC starts. Hunter Elliott's so much better at home than he is on the road. I really like the Ole Miss feel of the team, even though they really haven't gone streaking this season in the SEC, they seem like one of those teams that I might want to get behind in the postseason if they're like a 2 seed in a weak regional, or if they're hosting and they don't draw a super strong 2 or 3 to Oxford there. So I don't think Ole Miss is too bad. I like them at minus 115 with pitching advantage, where Auburn's 6-9 on the road and Ole Miss is 23-7 at Swayze. And we finished with Oklahoma over Texas. Minus 154, I don't think is high enough on Kyson Witherspoon, who is a big game pitcher against Kentucky, South Carolina, Missouri, Lehigh. It's a mid-5s ERA. Everybody else, every other quality opponent, this guy's been elite this season. 1.5 ERA against those teams, a 1.05 home ERA. He's got 104 strikeouts in 77 innings. He's been an elite arm this season. One of the top, if not the best right-handed pitcher in the country this season. And Texas has been skidding. They've lost 2 straight weekend series, 2 straight Friday games. So, I mean, Texas has a TBA too. They're not really confident in who they're going to throw in game 1. If it's Ruger Riojas, he hasn't made it out of the first inning in the last 2 starts. Rough times for Ruger Riojas and the Texas Longhorns. So give me Oklahoma in that series, and that's going to wrap up today's show. If you are a fan of college softball and the NCAA tournament that begins this weekend, we had a great show. We brought on Eric Lopez of D1 Softball in the Circle podcast to spew his knowledge, which was great. It was so much fun being able to talk with him. Me and Adam then gave out our picks for regionals, super regionals, OKC, the Women's College World Series, a full tournament preview, hour and a half long. First hour is us talking with Eric Lopez. The last half hour is us giving out our picks. Great show. Go over there and listen to that or watch it on YouTube. Hit that subscribe button, hit the like button if you like the show. Rate, review, leave a comment over there on podcast platforms, wherever you're listening to this thing. If you're looking to follow me and the rest of the content that I'm doing college baseball wise, not just gambling this season, you can do so at NoahB77_. We've got big things planned with 11.7 during the college baseball postseason this season. In years past, I've gotten denied strictly for doing gambling content. This year, doing a little bit of a scoot around, and we are going to be good to go. Getting a lot more credentials this season. It's been less of a hurdle working for Sports Gambling Podcast Network as well as 11.7. So that is always a positive, and I will not be ditching you guys this season. Look forward to next week, conference tournament week, one of the more advantageous weekends of the year when it comes to college baseball betting, because we're going to see a lot of TBA, to be determined pitchers, and it's our job to determine who is going to pitch and fire on a square line that we're going to get a lot of CLV come first pitch. So yeah, stay tuned. Keep your inboxes, check the notifications bell. This is our time of the year. College Baseball Experience, the #1 gambling podcast for college baseball. This is our time to shine. Biggest time of the year. Conference tournament week rolls into the NCAA tournament, where we will be here nonstop throughout the postseason. This has been the College Baseball Experience.